Hi everybody, Lisa here, Vera Bradley Bag of the Day. It's Throwback Thursday, so I used one of my vintage bags. This is actually well, it's the first time I've used it. Um, I have had it for just a little while, although it's relatively new to me. I spent a little bit more time cleaning it, and so I thought that I would talk a little bit about what happened. So I had something sort of different and interesting happen um, with this one. But this is a Gabby. I know I've already done a video about the first Gabby that I found, but I thought I would, just talk about it a little bit again for people who may not have seen that earlier video. It's a retired style, obviously, Throwback Thursday. And the pattern is Night Owl, which is 2008 and was a pattern I didn't know anything about until recently and just came upon. Probably I was searching for Gabby bags, I think. Um, it was on eBay, and the little, I have the little thumbnail image that you click on and then it gets bigger. And so at first I just thought it looked like dots, some like abstract dots kind of pattern. And what I noticed right away was that it was aligned nicely on the bag. I've talked at length in other videos about different kinds of patterns that if the bag isn't constructed well, the pieces of fabric, if the pattern is a very grid-like pattern or has very large circles that might get cut off awkwardly. If it's grid-like, it has rows of repeating elements. If the fabric is kind of not level when the bag is constructed, it can really just throw off the whole look of the bag and look sloppy. And so I had looked at this, I clicked on the thumbnail just because I thought, oh, well, the pattern looks well positioned and level. Everything looks level. So when I clicked on it, I saw, what the pattern really was, which is, let's try to get in here, these really sweet owls with these big googly eyes. It was the googly red eyes that, the little like red irises or whatever in big eyeballs. It really got to me. I just thought it was so cute. I can even closer, and it's just sort of sketched in with like an outline, right? And the background and the colors of the different circles that are behind the owl are still showing through. So the owl itself is just a thin outline drawing with these red googly eyes. Anyway, so I just thought it was very cute. I didn't buy the bag right away. I just sort of bookmarked it, and just thinking about it, it wasn't expensive at all. It was under $20, but I hesitated because, I need another bag like I need a hole in the head. You Vera ladies know what I'm talking about. But also the handles were a little off color, which is often a problem with white when there's a white element in a pattern. Especially in a handle area that's going to pick up oils from your skin, from your hands, that can stain the white, and that's hard to get out. And the seller was very open about that, had really good photos of the entire bag, including the handles, and I could see that they were a little yellowed. And they also pointed it out, the seller pointed it out in the description, so the seller was upfront about it. I think it might have been a guy, I'm not sure. So I bookmarked it, and I just kept thinking about it, and I did come across another listing of Gabby and Night Owl, and the pattern was not, the alignment of the pattern wasn't good. And so that made me really think about this even more. And you can see on both sides, it's lining up good. Where the Gabby only has this top handle, it has a zipper closure, I'll get to that. And it has these two east-west pockets on the sides. So these pockets are, pieces of squarish fabric. And so there are these seams here interrupting this main body of the bag where that pattern is. And so on the other bag, you know, this where this seam was kind of cut into these other elements, the daisy type flower, the stylized flower elements awkwardly. It just didn't look symmetrical. Things looked askew, as I say. So so this one, I kept looking at, and then I finally just, I think, when everyone was at the annual outlet sale in Indiana, and I was feeling sorry for myself that I couldn't go, I broke down and I got this. And when I first got it, I thought, why did I do this? This was such an impulse buy. You know, I don't even really like this pattern that much. It's just kind of blah. But I had it in my bathroom. I washed it, and I had it drying in my bathroom, and I kept looking at it, and it was really growing on me, but the handles were getting to me. I think it was just the handle. So I had washed it, you know, just in what I normally do, and I'll talk about that in a minute, because I just want to talk about that again. I know I've talked about it in another video, but about how I wash things, but people seem to find it helpful, and they may not have, you know, seen that, whatever video it was. I don't even remember what video it was, which one it was. So the body of the bag got pretty good, nice and clean looking. The straps, this part of the handle still looked a little discolored. And some of that's just not ever going to go away, I don't think. But anyway, it was bothering me. So I did what I usually do in that situation where I'm not pleased with the cleanliness of the handles. So I got my scrub brush and ivory bar soap, and I scrubbed it by hand all over here. And I could see, you know, grime was coming out. And then I let it dry again. It got super saturated that way, you know, without being in the washing machine to, like, you know, there was no spin cycle to get the water out of it. So it took a while to dry, but I could see something looked odd. And so when I looked closer, I realized some of the red had bled and was further discoloring the white and cream elements. And that's the first time. I just thought I'd mention that because everybody knows how to be careful with red in the laundry, but it's the first time. I've washed a lot of vintage Vera now, and that's the first time that anything red has bled for me. So I just thought I would mention that experience to people to keep in mind. I don't know, you know, I'm sure they're using different dyes for different patterns, and whatever it was about this dye maybe was more saturated and not as color fast. So I just let it, you know, I was a little frustrated, but I just let it dry, and I was very busy with work, and I didn't have time to redo it. I was thinking, okay, well, I'll scrub out the red. And so the other night, that's what I did. What I did was I went over it again with the ivory bar soap and the brush. I could see the red coming out. And then I immediately threw it in the laundry again with the detergent I normally use, just to sort of clean the ivory soap residue out. And it just worked really well, and I even feel like the white, and I think it's all white, the white elements on the body of the bag also got even cleaner. So I was very pleased with that overall. I do feel like the handles, although there's no wear in the fabric like fraying, the handles are going to always maybe just look, the white in the handles is not going to pop as much as it does on the body of the bag. That's just, you know, too tough luck. But that doesn't bother me because I feel like I've got the grime out enough, you know, to use it, because since this doesn't have a shoulder strap, this is, you know, primarily the way I would carry it. Just to give people an idea how it looks, you know, against body size-wise, because I'll measure it, but still, you know, just numbers don't really do it. So, you know, if you're carrying it, I'm sorry, Dookie, but I have to step back where you are. You know, this is kind of how it looks size-wise. Sorry, I'm trying to step over my dog. Against the body. You know, this is sort of size-wise, proportion-wise, what it would look like. Like I've said in another video, I'm 5'4", and anywhere from 120 to 130 pounds. I don't know what I am exactly right now. And sometimes I do carry it like this, you know, and then that's the other option. I'll do that. But I tend to just let it, you know, hang. But that's about, this gives you a sense of the size, you know, against the figure. So now I can actually measure it. Also, I was so excited to use this today that I forgot to put the base in, and so I immediately started to take stuff out, and then I thought, oh no, I'm probably going to do a video about this, so let me just do that in the video so people can just see. So this is what I've got a lot of stuff in here, and no base, no cardboard base, and you know, it's not looking that bad. You know, the bottom still looks pretty flat. So, you know, maybe the base isn't so critical. So what I have in here we go. If you can get a little bit of light in there. It's my typical stuff. GPS pouch, iPad mini, which is about 8 inches, I think, the longer length, 8 or 8.5, I can't remember. Double accordion wristlet is my wallet. Went back to that today. iPod and phone. Let's get a look at the lining. If I can get light, please let me get light, because it's it's very sweet. It has owls in it also. Let's see if I can find the owls. Here we go. Right up in here, they're darker, you know, sort of blending in with the polka dots, but those are owls there, also with googly eyes. It's always a good day when you get to say googly eyes a lot in a video, right? This is a little bit more masculine color scheme. Not that I'm suggesting any guy would want to use this bag, but but the interior, especially that interior fabric, looks sort of very more unisex at any rate. So this bag has a top zip, no hidden pockets up there. And the east-west, like I said, the east-west pockets, and they're pretty good, you know, they go down all the way to the bottom of the bag. And all the way, you know, they have a good width around, so it's easy to get your hand in there and utilize them more. Pocket, this exterior pocket is 5 inches deep. Okay, so the bag basically is, 14 the long way, by about 9 with top to bottom, but with the handle drop. Hold on, what am I doing here? The handle drop is only makes it about 10 total. Yeah, I didn't measure that right. 8. So 8 from here to here is 8, and then from the top of the handle to the bottom is 10. Oops. Oh, I don't think I need that anymore. Oh, yes, I do. And the bottom is 4. So this is the cardboard, you know, that came with it, and it feels like the original cardboard. I mean, it looks like all the other pieces I've gotten. So I can just slip it back in there, and while I'm doing that, I can talk about what I use to wash. I use these all pods. I was using Tide Sport because the packaging, I should know better because both my parents were in advertising, so I should know not to pay attention to packaging and advertising copy. However, you know, they were touting it as an odor remover because it's their sport variety of detergent, and so that's why I bought it. But I found actually that it was not as good as getting out the odor as this, and I also like the smell of this better. So I've been using this now. I actually started using it just for my regular laundry too, and it's working really well with odors and stuff. So So I've been using this, and I really like it. I usually use 1 pod per bag, and I usually wash each bag individually. I think maybe once I put 2 bags in together. It was all right, but I tend to like to do them one at a time, just in case there's bleeding. And I'm glad I did that with this one because it did bleed. Like I said, it's the only one that bled, really. Well, so here maybe you could see the owls a little bit better. A little bit. There they are. They're just so cute, really cute, and sort of like a little surprise, right? You see it's just dots. You think it's all dots. Oh, I think I just dented my cardboard. Okay, so I think I'm gonna put it. It's slightly bowed, so I think I'm gonna work opposite the curve to hopefully train it to sort of straighten out. I'm just gonna slip it in there. That's fine. It did, the cardboard did smell a little, the bag smelled just a little musty when I got it, and the cardboard had picked up that smell. But it did air out completely, so. Oops. And, oh, I should mention, I almost forgot. So when I'm washing bags, I put the bag in the drum of the washer with the pod. But then, in addition to that, I use this. I use distilled white vinegar. Vinegar is supposed to help remove soap residue from any prior cleaning and can really brighten up the fabric, I'm finding. And I had been just pouring this in, I had been putting it in my, if you're not using a pod, my washer has this detergent dispensing tray that slides out with 3 sections, and you pour your liquid detergent in the central section. But there's also a section on one side for a fabric softener, and I can't remember what the other one is for. I think Oxy products or something, because bleach is off somewhere separate. And so I had been putting this in the, I had been using the pod, but then I had been putting this in the compartment for detergent. And then I switched it. I decided to try putting it in the fabric softener compartment because I figured the timing was different in the cycle of when stuff is released into the wash. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that was my thinking. And I have found that the results seem better when I put this in the fabric softener compartment rather than putting it in the liquid detergent compartment. So that's what I've been doing. A pod in the drum of the machine, because that's what I'm supposed to do for my washer, and this in the fabric softener compartment. I'm wondering if, if when I put this in with the detergent dispenser with the pod, if they were sort of simultaneously in the wash and maybe they were counteracting each other. Maybe the acidity in this wasn't working the way that it could work because of the timing of when it was in the wash with the other soap. So it seems to have worked better, and that's what I do now. I'm done experimenting. I like the results that I get that way with it in the fabric softener compartment. So I'm just going to put this stuff back in here so to get an idea of how it looks with the base. I just am really taken with this pattern now. I really didn't think I was going to keep looking at stuff online in this pattern initially when I first got it. Like I said, I was kind of like, why did I buy this? That was a mistake. But I just think it's so adorable and it's subtle. And the background is black, but it's interesting because it almost looks navy. There is blue, there's this blue here. It's interesting that, first of all, people see color differently. I mean, there have been studies that show people see color differently. But also there's a wide range of black tones, just like there's a wide range different color white pigment. So this black just does tend to look very blue. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out. I held it up next to moon blooms, and the blacks of the background look very different So I wasn't sure at first if it was navy or blue. I mean, navy or black, but I do think it's black. But I think, with the blue in here next to it is affecting how it reads. I mean, and that happens, right? When you put different colors next to each other, they affect each other. So I don't know. I just like it. It's subtle. It's playful, but you don't really see that at first. You got to look at it a little bit, which I like. Also makes use of the coordinating trim, so that makes it kind of vintage to me. And I have noticed, in other bag styles in this pattern that this trim band gets wider, so that's kind of nice. On other style bags, get even more of that, and that trim. Anyway, oh, so there. So I mean, I think I prefer it with the base in there. I mean, I thought I could, I got away with it today, but I do prefer it with the base, which is odd for me because I do like a slouchy bag, but not in this. This needs that. It definitely needs that. Structure makes the bag look better. These handles are, rolled. They're soft. They have, give. They're not stiff. And it's just sort of knotted at the end. Slips through like a long loop here. And it's knotted at the end. So it stays in place there. Sort of a retro. It reminds me of knitting bags that my mom had. So I just enjoy it. And I have 3 of them now. I don't know if I'd get another one. I feel like I always say that. I don't need another one, and then I end up buying more. But I'm very, very pleased with this now, and so glad that my reaction to it changed over the course of a few days of just sitting with it. And once I got those handles really looking better. So anyway, that was the Gabby in Night Owl from 2008. And this is the Throwback Thursday Vintage Vera Bag for Vera Bradley Bag of the Day. That's a lot of taglines. Okay. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Hopefully. Thanks for watching.